Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of a Midwest Conversation. I'm excited to say that the podcast is back. I've been wanting to bring the podcast back for a while now, and finally have the time to do it. But before we get into the new episode of the new era of a Midwest Conversation, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I have moved into a new place, and I'm ready to start creating and putting out content that I'm proud of and that I want to do myself. Specifically focusing on the government at the state level and at the federal level, mostly around Ohio and the Midwest area, and then along, like I said, with the federal level. I also am bringing back the Midwest Conversation YouTube channel. I'm not going to be putting the podcast on that YouTube channel. I'll let you know where I'm going to be putting the podcast in a moment, but on the YouTube channel, it's going to be short form videos around the federal government and politics. I'm not really going to talk too much about local stuff on the YouTube channel just because, I don't know. I feel like the local stuff should be more the podcast because it'll be more long form and I can talk about it better. So the YouTube channel, there's really no set schedule for that. It's just basically when I see and find topics that I want to talk about, I'm going to make a video about them because I have time now, which is great. So the podcast, actually, let's talk about Substack. If you have been following me on Instagram and on Twitter the last couple of months, you know that I now am on Substack. Substack is basically a publishing platform that you can put whatever you want basically on it. Written pieces, videos, podcast links, everything like that. So you can follow me on there, a midwestconversation.substack.com. I'll put the link in the description and the notes and all that stuff. But essentially, that is going to be sort of where all of the content lives, right? So for free subscribers on the Substack, you will get access to every YouTube video that I put on YouTube, but you're going to get it one day before it drops on YouTube. You will get the audio version of the podcast one day early, and you'll also get access to a few written pieces that are on there. And then if you want to support this channel, this podcast, and me as an independent creator, that is awesome, and I really appreciate it. There is an option on Substack to subscribe for $5 per month, and with that, you will receive the video of the podcast 2 days in advance. So that's one day before it hits the free Substack, and then 2 days before it goes on all podcast platforms. You will get all of the access to the YouTube videos one day in advance like everybody else, and the free written pieces that are on there. Also, you will get access to subscriber-only written pieces that are on Substack. I have a few out now, and I'm working on a few more throughout, this journey that I'm trying to do by myself, independent. This is the time. It's interesting because when you look at publishing platforms, media outlets, mainstream cable networks, a lot of the prominent people that are on there are going independent and they're having more success. And there are a lot of people finding more success going into independent ways, because it's easier to reach a bigger audience. You don't have a stupid corporate arm telling you what you can and cannot say. So now's the time. So back to the podcast. Today is going to be the only free video episode that I'm going to put on the Midwest Conversation YouTube channel, on Substack, and it will also be on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that sort of thing, all on the same day, hopefully today, on the day of recording this, which is May 28th. So it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because I wanted to introduce what the plans are for this year, and then do some, basic housekeeping. So essentially, next week, we'll start the regular upload schedule of on Fridays, the video podcast for paid subscribers will go up on Substack. Saturday, the audio-only version will go up. And on Sunday, the free version for everyone on all of the streaming platforms. So the Saturday audio-only is a day before the streaming platforms get it. And the only way you receive that is to subscribe to the Substack, the free version. But if you're going to subscribe to the free version, you might as well just slap $5 onto it and just call it a day, right? Right. So yeah, that's the plan, and let's get into a few topics that I wanted to talk about today. So, Jeff fucking Bezos is the richest and most powerful man on planet Earth, and Amazon is the largest and most recognized company. Sorry, adjust the mic here. And Amazon is the largest and most recognized company in the world. Well, Amazon just bid and won a deal, $8-something million, I want to say. Let me pull it up here. Today this happened on May 28th, I think. Yeah. No, 26th. Sorry, 2 days ago. Yeah, so a deal valued at $8.45 billion with a B dollars. Amazon has now purchased MGM, one of the biggest Hollywood studios there is. Why is this a big deal? Because along with Amazon Prime content, Amazon now has a catalog of the MGM, all of MGM's movies and TV shows, which is 4,000 movies and 17,000 TV shows, including Rocky, The Wizard of Oz, the James Bond franchise. So they have all of this stuff along with all of their original content. Now, why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because now there is, in my view, no argument to say that Amazon is not a monopoly and the federal government needs to step in and do something. I don't know what that something is. I'm not a policymaker, but they need to do something. Because Jeff Bezos and Amazon now have their arms in every sector of American life. Movie production. They have Amazon Web Service, which controls the internet. It doesn't control the internet, but Amazon Web Service is like one of the largest web hosting services there is. We can think back to the Parler incident in last January where Amazon just pretty much took it off the internet. They are the second biggest employer of people in the retail area, besides for Walmart. They lead in cloud computing contracts for the government. They are the largest bookseller in the world. Jeff Bezos owns the second largest newspaper on planet Earth, or at least in the country, the Washington Post. They own Whole Foods, and now they have a major Hollywood studio, which means they have a direct line into American culture. And when we give one person, in this instance, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, we give one person pretty much control over all these different sectors of the economy, and not to mention the public. This is so funny. I literally got a Amazon email just now. Something about thanks for buying. What? I don't even remember what I bought. Oh, it's not even a... Oh, I bought a new band for my watch on Amazon, and they literally just now emailed me talking about, tell other people about your opinion. You want to know my opinion, Amazon? Fuck you. That's my opinion. Anyway, another Amazon thing in the news. Speaking of Amazon getting way more than they deserve. So there was a NASA contract, and essentially Congress told NASA that they wanted to go to the moon again. And NASA said, well, we need more money to do that. And the government was like, no, we're not going to give you more money. We'll outsource it to a private company, which is what the government loves to do. And Bezos and Amazon, Bezos' rocket company or space company is called Blue Origin. Well, they lost that contract bid to SpaceX, which is Elon's company. Everybody knows, right? It would hand over $10 billion of NASA money. Well, because Bezos is the most powerful man in the world, and Blue Origin has been lobbying Congress $625,000 in 2020. I'm reading from The Intercept right now. I'll leave a link to it, and I'll put it up on the screen, actually. Because Bezos pretty much owns the government at this point, the Senate has passed a vote to put a second space NASA contract on the board for bidding, and there's really no other company besides one other one that was something Moon. I don't even remember the name of it because they're not going to win. And there's a lot of people saying that this one's going to be gifted to Amazon. So we have the most powerful man in the world at this point. I was watching The Hill Rising with Crystal and Sagar, and Sagar if you haven't seen that show, watch it. It is, in my opinion, the best news show out right now. Cable, internet, whatever you want to stream it on. Whatever you stream the news on, this show is on YouTube, but it's easily the best down the center, left, right show there is. Sagar said, and I agree with him, that at this point, Jeff Bezos is more powerful than the President of the United States. Other than having the control of the U.S. military, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. And this is a perfect example of that. He buys MGM for $8.1 million, or 8.4, whatever the fuck it was, $million. Buys MGM, let's just get it right, shall we? Buys MGM for $8.45 billion. Now, he lost a space contract because SpaceX and Tesla, SpaceX and Elon are clearly better at getting to space than Bezos' company, because Bezos' company hasn't even been able to get a rocket ship into space. So yeah, NASA's going to give the contract to someone who they know can do it. But then Bezos is saying, well, I have all the money in the whole world. I have more money than any human knows what to do with. I have more money than 99.9999999% of people will ever be able to see in their life. I'm just going to tell the government to give me another contract, and I'm just going to tell the government to give me $10 billion in taxpayer money. And the government's going to say, sure, yeah, here you go, because that's just what we like to do in this country. And it's kind of sick. It's really kind of sick. So the bill on the Senate floor passed 71 to 27. Which means now it needs to move through the House. And this article here that I'm reading from The Intercept was on the 25th. And the 25th, what day of the week was that? Because today's the 28th and it's a Friday. So the 25th would have been a Tuesday. And the article predicted that it would go to the House for a vote yesterday, but that didn't happen. So I don't know if or when it will go to the House for a vote, but because it passed the Senate, that means it's going to go to the House for a vote. And they'll probably okay it because we love Amazon and Bezos, I guess. But I'll keep my eye on it, and if it goes to a vote next week, I'll let you know. And we'll go over it here on the show. Moving on. If you follow Midwest Conversation on YouTube or you are subscribed to the Substack, you would have seen a piece I put out and a video I put out about the commission, about a commission that Congress is trying to put together to investigate the attack on the Capitol building on January 6th. And my view on the commission is, I think, not a very popular one. I think people would disagree with me when they look at it in the top line, because the commission is essentially to investigate the January 6th attack. That's what the bill says. And to a normal person who doesn't really pay that much attention to politics and to how our government works, they would say, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And I say, no, that's a terrible idea because they are comparing it to a 9/11 style commission. And if we look at what happened after the last 9/11 style commission, the actual 9/11 commission, we had the Patriot Act, and then we had mass surveillance of Americans without our knowledge, which is wild and cannot happen again. And this bill would essentially make that easier for the government to spy on us. And I understand the argument of I have nothing to hide, so I don't care. But that's kind of a silly way to look at it because it's the principle that matters. We have the Fourth Amendment in this country that says we cannot be unlawfully searched, and I don't know the actual wording of the amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. That is the Fourth Amendment, and that is what this bill would essentially go against, in my view. The bill, if you read it, and I laid it out in the video that I made on this, and I'll put that link as well in here, but essentially there's no discretion as to what the commission can and can't look into. They don't give rules in the bill on what it can and cannot search and what it can and cannot infiltrate. Now, because of the Fourth Amendment, the government itself can't look into our personal records and stuff, but the commission, there's a line in the bill that says the commission can hire outsourced private companies, and that is a loophole on how they can get away with mass surveillance, because those companies would then surveil us with the help of the federal government, because we would give them money to do so, and then they would report back. So it's kind of like a loophole situation. And there's a new, or the bill to do that passed the House, and now it's moving to the Senate for a vote. And Senate Republicans, which I rarely agree with, but on this specific instance, I do agree with, they are going to filibuster, which essentially means they're pretty much going to stall until it dies. Which I have said in the past that I think the filibuster needs to be reformed. It is kind of like an immovable object in the middle of the street when you're trying to get something done. It's a tool for the minority power to hold things up, but the tool is very easily abused, and you can pretty much do anything and it constitutes as a filibuster. You used to, I don't remember the date, it was well before I was born, but you used to have to command the floor, which means there had to be somebody who was opposing whatever bill they're filibustering. There had to be someone on the floor of what either the House or the Senate, and keep talking, and just keep talking and like for hours, sometimes days, in order to halt a vote. Well, now you don't need to do that. You can just like signal around it, and you can get a bunch of people to just not show up, and other bullshit tactics which are constituted as a filibuster. So that part of it needs to be reformed, no question. But in this specific instance, I think the Senate Republicans are doing the right thing in doing everything they can to stall and make sure that this commission does not pass. Because ultimately, I believe, and I think a lot of them believe, that it is bad for the country. And the fact that they want to filibuster it, a lot of them are saying the staffing of the commission is why they're filibustering, because yes, it's a bipartisan commission, but there would be more Democratic leaders that would be able to pick people for the commission than Republican leaders would be. And then there are some Republicans in the Senate that are saying the wording and the language of the bill they don't agree with, which is what I was saying. So I just don't think this bill should go through, and I think the filibuster is a good way to stop it. I'm just reading from The Hill about the Republicans' plan. Mitch McConnell was saying some bullshit about how he believes that the voters of the country want to move on, and talk about the current administration, not the past administration, which is essentially him being afraid that the Democrats are going to take this issue into 2022, because 2022 is an election year for the House, the midterms, and a third of the Senate. And I think they're afraid that the Democrats would be saying, oh, they're against looking into the Capitol attack. They are on Donald Trump's team, and we need to figure out who and what was against, or who and what was for the attack, and how it happened, and this and that, and was there any collusion with senators, and this and that. I don't know. I think the whole bill just needs to be pushed to the side and forgotten about. Now, let me say clearly, the people involved, the people who incited, and the people who infiltrated in the attack, all of them should be held fully accountable to the law. That goes without saying. Without saying. But I think that this is an overstep. I think this is an overreaction because we had a few bad actors. We should not punish the entire American electorate because they ultimately voted Donald Trump out of office, right? Joe Biden is our president. It doesn't mean that I think it was no big deal. It was a very big deal. I know people who were very worried that there were going to be other attacks around the nation, which is a valid worry to have. But I don't think we need to create an entire surveillance regime made up of former government officials who were involved in the surveillance of Americans in 2013, 14, that was, and before, because of this event. I just think that's a bit of an overstep. Moving on. Let's look at some local stuff, shall we? Everybody probably knows already that Ohio is giving away $1 million for the next 5 weeks. Well, next 4 weeks, because the last drawing was yesterday, I want to say. I think yesterday. For vaccinated people. If you're fully vaccinated or you have had at least one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine, you can enter into a raffle and win $1 million, which is kind of cool. And for people under the age of 18, 12 to 17, they are giving away a scholarship to a state school, which I have a little bit of issue with because I feel like it's kind of unfair if a 16 or 17-year-old wins and they don't have any plan of going to college right away. It would be the money would be put in a trust, and they would be able to have access to that money for school, excluding room and board. But you see, that's kind of unfair to the person who wins, because what if they don't want to go to college? What if they're not planning on going to college? Like yours truly and a lot of people coming up in the newer generations, they're realizing that you really don't necessarily need to go to college to get a good job in a lot of sectors of the economy, plus the debt and everything that comes with college. A lot of people my age and younger are realizing that they really don't have to. So it's kind of a mismatch, but ultimately I like the idea. I have said here, not here on the show, but I've said to people that I know that I think lotteries are stupid. I think they are a tax on the gullible and the poor. I think we shouldn't have, well, I don't necessarily want to say we shouldn't have lotteries, but I'm not a big fan of lotteries, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. It's pretty much a tax on the poor and the gullible. But the only reason I say that is because you have to buy into it. You buy, I've been behind people at the gas station who have bought, $60 worth of lottery tickets, and they win $20 and they think that they're up. And it's like, no, dude, you lost. Sorry. So in that respect, I think lotteries are a little fucked up. But this is free. The vaccine is free. The entrance is free. Everything is free. You just sign up on this website with your email. Yeah, I've been vaccinated. And they use like a random number generator to pick a number and corresponding with a person. They verify that that person has been vaccinated. Boom, you win $1 million, plus or minus with tax. That's fine. I don't see any problem with that. But Ohio state Republicans are pushing back against it on grounds that I don't even know why. It doesn't even make any sense. The lead sponsor of the bill is a Ohio state representative, Jenna Powell, who represents Ohio's 80th district, which is north of Cincinnati, I want to say. I think. Can I check that? Let's check that, shall we? Let's see, members. Let's go to members. I know it's the 80th district, but I don't know where that is. I know it's Drake County, but where the hell is Drake County, right? Jenna Powell, District 80. Here we go. Okay, so just north of Dayton. North of Dayton, east of Springfield, south of Greenville, that area. She has proposed legislation to reverse and get rid of the lottery. Not the lottery that we all know as the lottery, but this specific lottery to win $1 million because we're vaccinated. I did a piece on this on Substack. It's a free piece that you can read. I'll put the link to it in the show notes. But essentially, she said to Dayton News, a local news station in Dayton, that, quote, the vaccine lottery is a frivolous use of taxpayer dollars. They have the ability to take the vaccine if they want it, but we shouldn't be putting $5 million of taxpayer money into it. Okay, first of all, the $5 million is coming out of Ohio's share of the $1.9 trillion passed in the COVID Relief Act, the CARES Act, right? Ohio got 4.5 billion with a B, 4.5 billion out of that share. And this, I would imagine, I couldn't find the actual numbers on it, but this, I believe, is probably the leftover funds because we used a lot of it. She says that she wants to use the $5 million, split it 50-50 between the Department of Mental Health Addiction Services and Small Business Relief. Now, while I agree with her that those aspects of the economy definitely need to be more upright and more at the center of the conversation. I'm sorry if you can hear like a whistling. It is super windy outside right now, and it's like really storming. I can kind of hear it in my headphones, so I hope it's not distracting. Nothing I can do about the acts of the Lord. Anyway, she wants to split the money 50-50 between the Department of Mental Health Addiction Services, specifically for mental health and early childhood, and then the Small Business Loan Program. Now, like I said, that's fine. If you want to put more money in those areas, do that. I'm all for it. But there's a time and a place. Okay, there's a time and a place. In 2020, the Department of Mental Health Services received $10 million from the CARES Act, along with $31 million for the Department of Jobs and Family Services, specifically for childcare. Daycare and senior centers also received $15.2 million, and another $2 million. $15.2 million between the two daycare centers and senior centers, right? So with the CARES Act money, we already pumped a ton of money into these industries and into these sectors and into these private and public sectors of the economy. We already did that. So splitting it half and half, $2.5 million each way, probably wouldn't make a difference, positive or negative. This, in my view, is blatantly a political stunt by her. Now, her bill does have 29 co-sponsors, but out of the 29 co-sponsors, there was only one that actually publicly said anything, and the person, I don't even remember her damn name, she said the same thing that Jenna Powell said. She was like, well, it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. Okay, well, at least Jenna Powell gave, recommendations in what to do with the money, other than just saying it's a waste of time. This is so freaking stupid. Mike DeWine already said in a press conference that he would veto any bill that is going to come after the lottery. So this is pretty much just, political signaling on behalf of Powell. She's trying to pick a fight because I don't know if she's up for re-election in 2022, but if she is, this would probably be a way to go after, I don't know, wasteful spending, I guess. But I don't even think this is wasteful spending because you're giving people an incentive to get the vaccine. Before the lottery was announced in Ohio, the vaccine numbers were going right downhill. Okay, they were dropping big time. And when this was announced, the number of vaccines jumped by 30 some odd percent, 33%, I think. Most of those were people within the age group of 16 to 17 years old. 94% increase in 16 and 17-year-olds. So to say that this is a waste of taxpayer dollars is one thing, but it's clearly an incentive to make people, or not make, because we're not forcing anybody to get vaccinated, but it's an incentive for people to get vaccinated, right? And DeWine has said in multiple press conferences that the key to reopening Ohio, which we're doing a pretty damn good job at, if I say so myself, okay? I know a lot of people have criticized Mike DeWine in the past, but I think he's done okay at this, all right? This is a once-in-a-lifetime situation that he had to deal with, and I think he did it pretty damn well. June 2nd, which is in a couple of days, the health orders in Ohio are going to be dropped, and I think for good reason. There's, millions of people, 2.7 million people with just... As of last Monday, 2.7 million people signed up for this site. And with all the increases around the vaccine, with the lottery, and people, word of mouth, people talking to each other, yeah, I got it. Yeah, symptoms were kind of shitty, but, I survived. The numbers are going up, which is good. So we can reopen now, which is good. But what we don't need are our state politicians trying to undermine a perfectly fine incentive for people to get the shot. Okay, let me be clear here. If you don't want the shot, don't take the shot. Whatever, it's your choice. I don't care. I took it both times. It sucked. I slept for fucking 12 hours the one time. After the second shot, I slept for 12 hours. It was horrible. I had a fever. It was awful. I hated everything. But the next day I was fine. And after the first shot, I was just a little tired. Okay, my arm was a little sore. All right. Other than that, you're good. So get the shot or don't get the shot. Whatever. Win $1 million? Don't win $1 million. Cool. But don't try and start a political fight over something that is wildly popular. Ohioans love the lottery. The Ohio lottery is super popular, okay? We give away millions and millions and millions of dollars a year to people just for buying a lottery ticket, right? And, hold the phone. We started a trend, okay? When's the last time you saw a trend start in the fucking Midwest? Let alone Ohio. Let me tell you, never. At least in my lifetime, we haven't seen a trend. But, since May 12th, when this lottery was announced, 1, 2, 3, 4, count them, 4 states, Oregon, Maryland, New York, and Colorado, all implemented their own version of a vaccine lottery. So we're making waves, okay? We're leading the charge, if you will, Jenna. So let's chill out, okay? Thanks. Other local news. We got some cool local news coming from a press statement that, funny enough, state representative, I'm going to butcher my man's name here, Haraz, you know what? I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I'm just going to put it on the screen. So there it is. There's his name. Here's a picture of his face. And he is my Ohio representative. He represents Wood motherfucking County. And he did a press release talking about he's very happy to announce a very competitive selection progress, and the ever-popular Peloton has decided to begin their professional journey in the United States right here in Troy Township, which is, southern-ish, not really southern Ohio because we're in northwest Ohio, but Troy Township is south of Harrisburg. So essentially there's going to be a Peloton factory that's going to come to town, which is kind of cool. It's going to create 2,147 jobs, according to Mr. this guy. Sorry, I don't know your name. I mean, I know your name. I see it right there, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Haraz something. Harbari? That's my best guess. 2,174 jobs and a $401 million capital investment, which is kind of sweet, right? A projection says this will generate $138 million in payroll revenue, which is kind of cool for the state. That's $138 million a year that the state and the county in this area didn't have before. So that's kind of nice. We can put that to good use, right? With public transportation. Let's fucking make Tarta better or some shit. I don't know. Let's make sure the roads don't have potholes in them. Come on. The factory is going to start operations in 2023. So we have some time, but it's still good news. Still good news, baby. So it's going to be manufacturing, basically. So we're revamping the Midwest manufacturing sector one county at a time, which is kind of cool. So that is really all I had for this week. Like I said, this is a transitional week. I'm still trying to get stuff wrapped up. I'm still trying to get it on a legitimate schedule. But now I think with the weekly show of the podcast, I will be able to. So let's go over it one more time, shall we? Podcast is back, baby. The audio only is available for free 1 day in advance every Saturday if you subscribe to midwestconversation.substack.com for $0.00 per month. You get the podcast audio only every Saturday, along with 1 day early YouTube videos and free written pieces. If you want to support your boy, which would be very kind of you, $5 per month, Substack, midwestconversation.substack.com. $5 per month. You get the video of the podcast. You get to see my fucking face. And maybe a guest if I decide I want to open my home to a stinky human. 2 days in advance. We're talking Fridays, baby. So you get the video of the podcast 2 days in advance, right? You also get everything the free people get. You get the YouTube videos a day in advance and the free pieces that I've written with my fingers. You also get access to some subscriber-only written content, which only you get if you pay for, which is kind of sweet. So there's that. YouTube. We're on YouTube all the time. I'm trying to be very consistent, or as consistent as possible on YouTube. There really isn't a specific schedule for uploading YouTube videos because I only make them when I feel like it's necessary and I feel like I can get a point across in 10 minutes or less. So just keep your eyes out for those. But if you subscribe to the Substack, you'll get an email every time I post something. If you don't know what Substack is, it's an email site, basically. It's a publishing email site where you put in your email address and you can choose to subscribe for free or paid. And every time I put something on the internet, it comes right to your email box. Easy as that. So if you don't pay attention to your phone, or you don't pay attention to YouTube very often, or you're not a social media person, it'll come right to your email box and it'll say a Midwest Conversation, Grant Eckhart, whatever it says, has posted something new, or there's a byline if it's a written piece. So the YouTube videos will be 1 day before they drop on YouTube, which, it's kind of like an insider sort of thing for free because the YouTube videos are always free. And then on Sundays, if you don't want to subscribe to the Substack, fuck you. I mean, kidding. If you don't want to subscribe to the Substack, that's fine. Every Sunday, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, from now on, the audio only will be on there. So thank you for watching this video. Thanks for coming back to the podcast. We're going to be back now. And I'll talk to you. I'll see you when I see you, essentially. So I hope you had a good week. Hope you have a great weekend. And see you next time. See you guys.